Zorp the Xylarian adjusted his optical sensors. He had just parked his starhopper neatly behind a large Earth billboard. This planet was a curious place. Humans scurried around, often staring at small glowing rectangles. They spoke of many strange things. One phrase caught Zorp's auditory receptors repeatedly. It was digital gold. What could this peculiar Earth treasure be? Zorp was intrigued. He needed to learn more about this phenomenon. This planet was full of surprises, it seemed. He soon discovered they were talking about Bitcoin. It was a new kind of money for them. Zorp learned it wasn't made of shiny metal. It was purely digital. Yet, it held great value. And this value was climbing fast. Just recently, on May 22nd, 2025, one Bitcoin reached over $111,900. That was a new record for Earth. Even after a small dip, it stayed strong. Zorp felt a buzz in the air. Humans were excited. Their digital coins were sparkling. Everywhere Zorp went, he heard Bullrun. At first, he scanned for large, horned mammals, but humans explained it differently. A bullrun meant prices were charging upwards like a powerful rocket taking off. Not a literal bull, but a financial one. Bitcoin was on such a run, they said. It was heading towards their moon, metaphorically speaking. Zorp, having visited many moons, found this amusing. But he understood their excitement. Why all this fuss? Why was Bitcoin's price predicted to go even higher? Zorp's mission was to observe and learn. This Bitcoin seemed like a very important Earth development. He decided to investigate the reasons for this optimism. What forces were pushing this digital currency to such heights? It was time to delve deeper into this fascinating Earth-based financial adventure. This journey of understanding was just beginning for Zorp. Zorp noticed something significant. Earth's governments were paying attention to Bitcoin. This was a big deal. The White House itself announced plans. They were thinking about a strategic Bitcoin reserve in March 2025. Imagine a country holding Bitcoin like gold. Some smaller Earth regions, called states, were also active. New Hampshire passed a Bitcoin reserve bill. Texas lawmakers were working on a similar idea. This showed growing acceptance at high levels. Bitcoin was becoming serious business. It wasn't just governments. Big Earth companies were also joining in. Zorp learned that GameStop, a company humans liked for games, bought Bitcoin. They purchased about 4,710 Bitcoins. This was worth around $500 million. This was a sign of corporate treasury adoption. It meant companies were starting to hold Bitcoin as an asset, like digital treasure in their company vaults. This was a strong vote of confidence. It showed they believed in Bitcoin's future. More good news kept coming for Bitcoin. A company called Galaxy Digital went public. This happened on May 16, 2025. This means more big investors could easily get involved. It signaled that the traditional financial world was embracing crypto. Also, new laws were being discussed. The U.S. Senate advanced something called the Genius Act. This act aimed to legitimize stablecoins. Stablecoins are digital currencies pegged to regular money. Making them safer could indirectly boost Bitcoin too. Zorp also heard about money coming back into the market, about $16 billion from something called the FTX bankruptcy. This money was expected to be repaid to people. Many of these people might put it back into crypto. This could increase demand, especially from everyday investors. Zorp saw many pieces fitting together. Institutional interest, government moves, and retail demand. All these factors were creating a powerful upward force for Bitcoin. Zorp, being from an advanced civilization, understood patterns. He learned Bitcoin also had patterns, or cycles. Humans had studied these cycles. The current one started around November 2022. As of early 2025, it was about 900 days old. Historically, these Bitcoin bull cycles often peaked later, around 1,100 days from their lows. This suggested there could be several hundred more days of potential explosive growth for Bitcoin. The journey was not over yet. Looking at the numbers, Zorp was impressed. Bitcoin had already climbed significantly, from a low of about $15,000 to its recent high near $112,000. That was a seven-fold increase. But when compared to past cycles, this was modest. In 2013, Bitcoin saw a 452x move from bottom to top. In 2017, it was 112x, and in 2021, it was 20x. So, a 7x move suggested the market was not yet overheated. There was still plenty of room for Bitcoin to run further. Earth analysts used special tools to measure Bitcoin's value. One was called the MVRV ratio. It compared Bitcoin's market price to the average price its coins were last moved. Right now, this MVRV ratio was at 2.4x. In previous cycle peaks, like in 2021, it reached around 4.0x. This indicated that Bitcoin was not yet overvalued. It suggested there was more upside potential. Another complex indicator, the 2-year rolling MVRV Z-score, also showed healthy signs during consolidations. Perhaps most importantly, Zorp observed the Bitcoin believers. These were the long-term holders, often called hodlers. They showed strong conviction. Even as prices climbed higher and higher, they held onto their Bitcoin. A metric called the 1+ year hodl wave was rising. This meant more Bitcoin was being held unmoved for over a year. These hodlers expected even higher prices in the future. Their faith was a powerful support for Bitcoin's continued ascent. Zorp listened carefully to Earth's financial wizards. Many experts were making bold predictions for Bitcoin. Mike Novogratz from Galaxy Digital expected $130,000 to $150,000 in 2025. He believed institutional money and a weaker US dollar would drive this. Analysts at Standard Chartered, a big bank, were even more optimistic. They predicted Bitcoin could reach $200,000 by the end of 2025. These were very large numbers. Zorp found this fascinating. Humans were truly betting on this digital asset. Some predictions were even more astronomical. Robert Kiyosaki, an author, foresaw $250,000 for Bitcoin in 2025. Arthur Hayes, a co-founder of BitMEX, agreed with this target. But he added a condition: if the US Federal Reserve started printing more money again. Adam Back, a Bitcoin pioneer, suggested something truly stellar. He said Bitcoin could exceed $1 million. This could happen if the US established that strategic Bitcoin reserve. Kathy Wood of RK Invest aimed for $1.5 million by 2030. Zorp also learned about bigger economic forces at play. The value of the US dollar, measured by the DXY index, was down. It had fallen over 8% so far in 2025 as of late May. A weaker dollar can often make assets like Bitcoin more attractive. There was also talk about the US Federal Reserve. They might shift from tightening money supply to easing it. This is called quantitative easing, or QE. If QE returned, it could trigger a major rally for Bitcoin. So the outlook for Bitcoin seemed bright. Supply was tight, with many hodlers holding strong. Demand was rising from big institutions and new investment products like ETFs. Stablecoin growth also helped. Zorp concluded that Bitcoin was far from its peak. The combination of strong fundamentals, positive market sentiment, and supportive macroeconomic factors painted a bullish picture. As Zorp prepared to leave Earth, he thought Bitcoin's journey to the moon was indeed well underway. Perhaps he should tell Planet Xylar about it.